How many times you start a print only to have the first layer fail miserably? It's one of the most frustrating parts of 3D printing. But here's the good news. The solution is often simple. Clean your build plate. Today I'm going to show you how a spotless plate can transform your first layers. And we will do a direct comparison between a dirty plate and a clean one to prove it. Plus we will talk about how build plate temperature and filament settings play a crucial role. Let's make it, let's print it, let's get into the video. Welcome back to Pixel Forge Lab, my name is Alessio.
And here we are in front of a printer, my P1P, fully customized. And if you want to see how to turn your normal P1P to this beautiful P1P, check the video in the description down below. So we're gonna put it in and we can start the first print test. On this particular test, we're not gonna do bed leveling, and I avoided it doing bed leveling for a week or so. So just to make sure that we have all the variables, like the bad condition, really bad ones. So now it's gonna start doing this whole thing, and let's enjoy this time lapse.
When your build plate is dirty, this is the result. You can see the filament isn't sticking evenly, there are gaps, curls, and even areas where it lifts completely. What causes this? It could be oils from your hands, dust, or leftovers residue from previous prints. Even if it looks clean, trust me, it probably isn't. Let's take a closer look. See these shiny spots? That's oil from my hands. And the dull patches here, it's leftover adhesive from previous prints. It doesn't seem like much, but it's enough to ruin adhesion. A clean build plate isn't just a suggestion, it's critical for getting a perfect first layer.
Well, we can all agree that I had to stop the print because it was getting in the way and the cover of the hot end was getting detached, so I stopped the print. But we can all agree again that it's really bad. And that's because all the oils, all the dust and the sweat of the hands when we touch the build plate, and this is the result. All the spots right here is where it's really oily. Right here. It's pretty terrible. It's lumpy everywhere. The bottom is not great at all. There are holes everywhere. And for the next part, we're gonna clean the build plate thoroughly, and I'll show you how.
Cleaning your plate is simple and doesn't require expensive tools. Just grab some dish soap and warm water. A soft sponge works perfectly. Don't use anything too abrasive that might scratch the surface.
So here we are at the sink, and what you need is a pair of gloves. I'm using latex gloves. I'm using a normal dishwashing soap, of course the build plate, and bonus tip, I will use this 1000 grit sandpaper, but not right away. I'm gonna wash it first, then I'm gonna do a little pass, really light, soft of sandpaper, and then I'll wash it again. So let's do this. I'm gonna use warm water. Also, I'm gonna use a new sponge, a brand new sponge just for the build plate, and let's go.
Scrub gently but thoroughly to remove all oils and residues. Rinse it well to make sure no soap is left behind, as that can also interfere with adhesion.
Gonna make sure to go really deep. Then I'm gonna rinse it. And this is the part where I'm gonna use the sandpaper, 10,000 grit or even 2000, really light, and just rub it in really lightly. It will remove imperfection after hundreds of hours of prints. Under the water, it's gonna be more efficient. Just really light passes, but this part is optional. Don't go too hard, just really light passes. I'm gonna do the other side as well. And we can throw away the sandpaper, and now I'm gonna wash it again.
Once it's clean, let it air dry completely or use a microfiber cloth to speed up the process. You don't want any moisture left on the surface when you start printing.
Okay, the build plate is washed and it's perfect. So for the drying part, you have two options, or you're gonna let it dry right there until it's fully dried, or you can use a microfiber cloth, and this is what I'm going to use for this video. And we're gonna just dry it really well with the microfiber cloth, and not gonna touch the build plate with my fingers or with my hands whatsoever. And I'm gonna show you after the print what I'm doing every print, every time. I'm using another pair of gloves, so I'm not touching the build plate ever. Perfect, now we can go back to the printer.
Now that the plate is spotless, it's time to prep for our test. But before we jump into printing, let's talk about a couple of other key factors. Bed temperature, filament calibration, and filament drying. All play a huge role in first layer success, and getting them right makes all the difference. For PLA, I recommend a bed temperature of 60 degrees Celsius. If your bed is too hot, let's say 65 degrees or higher, which in this case was recommended by Bambu Lab, it can actually cause warping or oversoft filament, leading to adhesion problems. Always check the recommended settings on your filament box. Each brand can vary slightly, so don't assume one setting works for all PLA. Make sure to check this video right here about warping PLA in the description down below. Another crucial step is calibrating your nozzle height. If it's too high, the filament won't stick. If it's too low, the nozzle will drag the filament and create a messy print. Many printers like the Bambu Lab P1P makes this process easy with built-in calibration tools. Run this before every major project or whenever you change materials.
Now, before I start the print, I just set the bed temperature to 60 degrees so that the build plate is warming up and keep the temperature consistent because it's been moved, it's been warped, washed, and also sanded. I'm also wearing my new gloves. These are fabric gloves, cotton gloves. So from now on, I'm gonna touch the build plate only with these gloves. Also, before starting the print, make sure you set the bed leveling as well and you did calibrate your filament.
Now here's the same test on the clean plate. Look at how smoothly the filament lays down. No gaps, no lifting, just perfect adhesion. This is the foundation of any successful print. If your first layer looks like this, you're on the right track. Here's the comparison. The dirty plate resulted in a patchy, uneven first layer, while the clean plate gave us perfect adhesion across the board.
Here we are checking the print, the perfect first layer. As you can see, it's almost perfect. I'm using my gloves again because I don't want to touch the build plate after we washed it and fixed it, so now it's really perfect. So we can print whatever we want and we're gonna have always a perfect first layer. I can tell by touching it there's some slight imperfection, maybe not to the eye, but to the touch there is a little bit. What we need to do is to peel this first layer off and check it a little bit better. So I'm gonna use the scraper gently. And let's peel this off. Wow, it came off really well, really easy. We can tell right here the bottom is pretty perfect and the top also. On this part right here, that is, if we bend it, it's gonna break. I'm gonna show you something. If we're gonna put this in front of a light, we can see where actually there is under extrusion or over extrusion. Let's try. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but there are some slight imperfection right here at the bottom left and at the bottom right here. I think I had this issue on my printer as far as I remember, but maybe with just a calibration, a better calibration. This is a Bambu Lab filament, so I'm not sure. But on the top, it's really perfect. There is no light coming through. It's pretty perfect, except maybe this little corner right there, if you can see it, and on this side. But the worst part is under here. Is in the front of the printer, so I'm not sure about this one. Probably calibrating the filament better will do the job. And that's pretty much what you have to do to have a perfect first layer.
The difference is night and day, and it all comes down to a quick cleaning routine, as we can see right here. So, to recap, clean your build plate on a regular basis, set your bed temperature correctly, dry your filament, and always calibrate your nozzle height. These simple steps can save you from hours of frustration and wasted filament. And this is it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below in the comment box. And if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more 3D printing tips. And as usual, I'll catch you on the next one.